And well, hello everyone on Facebook Live, YouTube.com, Kevin Olenick, Soundcloud.com, Kevole, Spreaker.com, Kevole, and of course on Instagram as well, and as Kevole. Saw a interesting story from Camilla Giuseppe. Camilla Giuseppe, making sure I say that right, Facebook. And I wanted to talk about what she shared yesterday. If you are not following her on Facebook, I asked her today if I could share some of this story that she is looking into. And I'll read part of what she posted, and this will be what we're talking about today. Took a call in the newsroom from a man tonight. He is in his late 60s. He was quite upset and by the end virtually in tears. He says he is getting bullied at work. He says he is feeling pressured. He feels he is being pressured to retire. He says he can't. He needs the paycheck, and he likes several of the people he worked with since he began 18 and a half years ago. He wanted to know who he can talk to. I didn't have an answer other than to suggest Alberta employment standards, but it is possible that this is not the right avenue for him. Man, I got to tell you, we take so many calls at work from people who feel they have nowhere to turn to. These particular chats range from heartbreaking to angry, confusion to despair. We try to help. Sometimes it turns into a news story. Sometimes we can provide them a resource. At a few occasions, people just want someone to listen. But a lot of the times, we wish them well, and the call ends. Not tonight. She goes on and talks and asks about some resources and stuff, which we'll get into. Then she ends it with this. Or she goes on and then she says this. The toughest part of this conversation with this gentleman were two things. That he is scared to lose his job, and I fear he will continue to absorb this treatment because of it. And when at the end he broke down, that was his pride broken and worn. A man or woman of this much life and experience should not be made to feel this way. So this leads me to two questions tonight. And just to be fair, Camilla is trying to get information from the employer, so she's looking at both sides at that. But it is still leading me to some questions that I have reading the story, which I found to be quite heartbreaking, and a lot of people chimed in and gave their support on this. Why is anyone being forced to retire, first of all? If one feels productive, no matter the age, they should be allowed to work. No one should be forced to retire. And deeper question than that for me, in an era where we're talking a lot about workforce bullying and bullying in schools, in all sorts of different areas. Why? I'm really sad that this person isn't feeling a sense of defense from somebody out there. It bothers me that this person is working in this environment, that he's worked for 18 and a half years, that there's someone not there to stand up and say something. That breaks my heart to me. Because it can't possibly tell me that he's not the only person that is noticing this. I think other people are noticing this as well. And the other question is, this man is 60 years old, and I can't imagine that this person isn't the only one that has felt some ageism. So that's something we talk a lot about, but I do think that this happens. We do say age is a number. It's only a number, but there are companies that would rather have the younger look, or even companies that would rather have someone that looks a little bit more mature and won't hire someone younger because they don't feel that they're qualified enough. They haven't paid their dues. So there's so much perceptions around the ageism conversation, not only for older people, which is in this case, but for younger people as well. I think that happens. Another question that I have, or something else that I'm curious about, is reading the comments on Camilla's page. There were a lot of options of people where this person can go, which is great. I think that that's great. I think it's great that there's a place like the Kirby Center helps out senior citizens. But what I'll also wonder about is and forgive my cynicism here a little bit, what really can be done in this situation? What really is the option there? He goes to a place like the Kirby Center. He goes to maybe Alberta Employee Standards. He goes to whatever. What's going to happen? Like, I'm sorry I feel a little cynical about this, but I'm not sure what really is there other than, you know what, I'm reporting this. I know that there's been times when people have reported stuff and it just goes on a record and nothing. So what real meat is there? And let's go back to what he said here. He's scared to lose his job, and he's going to continue to, or Camilla said, he's scared to lose his job. He's even admitted he's scared to lose his job. He needs his paycheck, and he's going to continue to absorb this treatment because of it. And I wonder how many people out there are in the same boat. They are being treated poorly at their work, but they're afraid to lose their job. They're afraid of not having a paycheck. They're afraid of those options and will continue to absorb treatment because of it. I think this happens a little bit more than we want to admit, even though there is every player I've applied to the last little while has said that they have high employees, they're working on fair and equity, it's equal opportunity. I think that wonder if there's how much cynicism and there's fear out there. And also, in this era of having to share your story now, is this person going to be believed? Is this person feeling like he's going to be believed and valued? Now, anyone that has met Camilla, I bet you, and I read the comments and I've seen her work, I will say that she is a very compassionate human being, and that comes across in her presentation and how she presents her work. And I have no doubt that she did everything she can for this person. But that's not always going to be the case. There's people that may not believe him. And it's also somewhat sad that he doesn't know, and I think a lot of people may not be aware of where supports are. And it's nerve-wracking for if anyone can actually really, really help. In tough times in an economy, people, no matter the age, need a paycheck. And there's a fear if he complains and he stands up or creates an incident, it looks bad on him and he could lose his job. And this close to the Christmas holiday season, that's not great. And if he loses his job at the age of 60, can he find another job in the workforce? Or is someone going to look at him and feel like, well, I think you're a little too old to have this job? So some real questions here. So I guess two questions that I have is, do we need to have a better conversation around ageism, whether that be younger or older discrimination? Because I do think that this happens. We just don't talk a lot about it. And what can we do to do better at defending workers' rights? I know some people are pro-union. I know some people out there that are anti-union. I'm not going to necessarily get into that, but I do think like some of the teeth in the legislation in there, is it really protecting a worker's rights? A worker, in this case, that has worked for 18 and a half years at a company and is feeling bullied and feeling forced to retire. Is what we have out there enough to support? Let me know. Comment on Facebook Live. Talk on Twitter, KEVLE, Soundcloud.com, KEVLE, Spreaker.com, KEVLE, KEVOLE, YouTube, Kevin Olenick, Patreon if you want, Kevin Olenick, Instagram, KEVOLE. Curious, not a flashy topic, but I do think something that's worth a really good discussion. Do we need to do better at defending workers' rights? Have you seen ageism? Can we talk about that? Hope you're having a great night. We will talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.